Hello my dear Armenians, these are the news from Western Armenia, especially for you. Western Armenia urges the US to uphold Wilson's Arbitral Award and today's peace. Lydia Margossian congratulates Aprahamian. Western Armenia held early presidential elections. Delegation visits Yerablur to honor national heroes. President Aprahamian transfers the Armenian princess chain to Vazgen Sislyan. From Azez to America, Zarminé Poghosyan's inspiring path. Artsakh grandpa monument vandalized. Nakhichevan in the focus of pan-Turkic policy, Ashot Harutyunyan. Western Armenia appeals to the United States. A century after Woodrow Wilson's Arbitral Award, November 22, 1920, the Republic of Western Armenia sends a diplomatic reminder to former U.S. President Donald J. Trump, highlighting America's historic and legal responsibility in recognizing the Armenian state and supporting post-Ottoman justice. Signed by Armenag Aprahamian, President of the Republic of Western Armenia, Karin Erzurum, 22 November 2025. A century of silence and one reminder. 105 years after the award, Western Armenia recalls America's founding role in modern international law and in recognizing Armenia. The reminder is based on official U.S. acts of 1920. America's de jure recognition of Armenia. Senate Resolution S. Res. 359, May 11, 1920. Wilson's Arbitral Award defending Armenia's legal borders. The moment America drew the lines of justice. President Woodrow Wilson, following Article 89 of the Treaty of Service, set the Armenia-Turkey border in 1920. He granted Armenia the rights of Karin, Erzurum, Bitlis, Van, and part of Trabzon, giving access to the Black Sea. This award was final, legal, and binding, and has never been cancelled because the U.S. ratified neither the Treaty of Service nor Leozini. Clear support from the U.S. Congress. The United States recognized Armenia on April 23, 1920. The Senate rejected the mandate for Armenia, not because it denied Armenian statehood, but because America wished to avoid administrative responsibility. Armenia's recognition remained in force. For more than a century, Congress repeatedly recognized the genocide committed against Armenians, including the 1975, 1984, 2019 and 2020 resolutions. Western silence but legal continuity. Since 1927, no U.S.-Turkey treaty has ever replaced or cancelled Wilson's award. In international law, what is not cancelled remains valid. Thus, Wilson's Arbitral Award is still legally in force. Donald Trump and the present peace. Western Armenia appeals to Trump to remind him that the real peace must be based on truth and law. The message is clear. America wants defined justice. Let that principle guide today's peace. A call for international justice. Western Armenia asked for Wilson's award to be included in modern international decisions on Armenian rights. This is not a territorial demand, but a reminder of an existing legal framework that still grants Armenia international legitimacy based on law. Echo of century. 105 years later, America stands before its own history. In 1920, it drew borders for a persecuted people. In 2025, it can still support justice based on truth. On November 22, 2025, Western Armenia marks the 105th anniversary of Wilson's Arbitral Award, still a guiding legal and moral principle for Armenian sovereignty and justice. On November 22, the Parliament of Western Armenia elected a new president. Lydia Margossian congratulates Armenag Aprahamian, praised his long work for restoring Armenian rights. She highlights his early role in 2004 Shushi Declaration on Self-Determination and his important part in defending Artsakh in the 1990s. As an international law expert, he helped restore recognition of the indigenous status of Western Armenia and affirmed the continued legal existence of the Republic of Western Armenia since 1920. On November 22, 2025, the National Assembly held extraordinary elections in Yerevan. Out of 64 elected members, 47 participated in person, by proxy, or via Zoom. The required threshold was 66%, and Armenag Aprahamian was re-elected with more than 90% of the vote. Ceremony highlights. Session opened by Election Commission Chair Zarminé Poghosyan. Deputies list was presented. 74 votes in favor, 0 against. Aprahamian took the official presidential oath. Ceremonial acts included praising his land on the constitution, drinking water from Anahit's spring, holding soil from Western Armenia, and standing barefoot on a traditional carpet. The session also honored the 83rd birthday of the hero Leonidas Galdian, and the parliament issued an official congratulatory address. Wilson's award 105th anniversary was also commemorated, and the Prince of Armenia's chain was symbolically passed to Vazgen Sislyan. After the allegations, President Aprahamian and the delegation visited Yerablur military pantheon to honor the soldiers who died for the homeland. They emphasized that Armenia's statehood is built on a sacrifice of those heroes and renewed their commitment to protect the homeland. During the ceremony, President Aprahamian passed the historic chain to Vazgen Sislyan, member of Asala and leader of the Van operation. Sislyan stressed that Asala's mission was not only the recognition of the genocide committed against Armenians, but also the struggle for the return of Western Armenia. The Nakhichevan Culture Association presented Zarminé Poghosyan's book telling her journey from Azez to Aleppo and then to the Armenian communities of America. Her writings reflect decades of work in education, culture, and Armenian identity in the diaspora. Speakers praised her dedication and her lifelong mission to preserve Armenian heritage. New footage shows vandalism on the Grandma and Grandpa monument in Artsakh, with Azerbaijani inscriptions carved onto it. Despite international orders to protect Armenian cultural heritage, Azerbaijan continues to endanger historic monuments. Historian Ashot Harutyunyan explains that the massacres of Armenians in Nakhichevan in 1905 were organized to remove the Armenian population and bring the region under Turkish control. Hundreds were killed, villages destroyed, and churches desecrated. If you have any questions or want to learn more, you can visit our official link. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.